There's only one person in the world that I could possibly think of to talk about Shadowkin with today, and you know who that is. Let's go. What's up, guys? MtgJedi here, and we have the one and only YST on the channel today because, of course, with a Shadowkin conversation, we have to include the Shadowkin master himself. YST, how you doing, bro?
How's it going, MTG? Long time coming, I guess, for this collab. It's been quite a long time since we last touched base, right?
Yeah, it's been a bit.
Yeah.
It was definitely before basketball season. That's the busiest time of the year for me. So, how you been? What you been up to?
Oh, just grinding. You know how it is. Free to play life, normal grinding on my main account, trying to clash both of accounts. But yeah, man, just keeping busy.
Ah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, congrats on 20K subs. That's crazy. That's
Oh, thank you.
definitely my goal for right now as well. So hopefully I'll be able to catch you. But if you guys want to catch YST, all the links for his channel will be in the description and in a pinned comment. We're going to do a collab on his channel after this as well. And make sure you head over there and check him out. I'm sure you already know him, but in case you don't, make sure you head over there, subscribe to his channel, check out his videos. He's been on fire over there lately, so check that out. As for today, we're talking Shadowkin, okay? We're starting this series in 2023. Last week we had Nub on, and this week we have our dude YST. And we're talking about each faction with a different content creator. We are talking about what champions are good, what champions are unusable, and then getting a faction wars gist of the faction as well. So, YST, can you start us off with your favorite champion in this faction?
Um, I guess there's only one champion, right? It's gonna be Genzin.
So, but we know that
Yeah.
Genzin is your favorite, most of us,
Yes.
okay? But I
Yes.
don't know why. So,
Oh,
can you go into the why of why he's your favorite?
yeah, so basically my channel logo and branding is basically like a Shadowkin / Wolverine kind of warrior theme, and that's kind of what I like anyway. Then when Shadowkin came into the game, I was like, yo, it was basically I wanted a channel mascot, right? You see how like Ash has Seal of the Drakes and stuff like that. So I was looking at the faction and I was thinking, ooh, there's Jintoro that actually could have been a candidate, but he's got like a full face mask, right? And then Genzin had the half face mask, and I was like, I just gotta go with Genzin, and then it just kind of stuck, and then everyone just knows me for Genzin now.
I
So yeah.
mean, I think that would have been cool for you to have a giant mask with antlers. But yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So did you find a mask that looked like the Genzin mask after
Yes.
Shadowkin came out?
No, I actually had the mask before because my logo is like this one, so it's like the red mask.
Oh,
So,
wow. That was
but
so similar.
yeah, but I've actually got somebody. Well, I haven't actually revealed it properly yet or anything, but I've actually got like a whole team creating me a masterpiece that's identical to Genzin's. So I'm just
Wow.
basically we've been working on that for a few months now, so I'm excited for that to come. But yeah,
I can't wait for the reveal on that one. Well, that is
yeah.
pretty cool. I love that story. That's awesome. My favorite champion is Riho. No, just kidding. Um, My favorite champion actually is a new one who just got added, and that's Michinaki. And
Ooh.
I always think about him. Did you ever watch He-Man as a kid?
Skeletor, is that who you're
Yes,
thinking of?
yeah.
Yeah,
He's like the raid
yeah,
version of Skeletor, and I just love the way he looks, but I also love everything about his kit. Like that's everything
yeah.
I want to do in the game.
Do you know what he reminds me of? He
What?
reminds me of Ghost Rider from
Yeah,
Marvel, but like a
yeah,
green one.
yeah, absolutely. You got some
Yeah.
Ghost Rider vibes in there as well. But this is a champion I still don't have yet. I tried to pull for him multiple times, but I decided I wasn't gonna pull on this 10x. So, I mean, I guess we'll just wait and see who we get. Um, let's just jump into what are some of the other high profile champions in this faction that you're always gonna want, you're always gonna max out, that are gonna be
Mhm.
good on every account. Who do you got for that?
Well, I'd say that from the Shadowkin, I think Playroom did a really good job with the kind of range here. Like we got Hex champions, Control champions, we got Nukers, defense-based supports. Like there's so much versatility for this faction. But I would say like Lady Kimmy is probably one of the MVPs from here. Really, really strong one, and actually one of my most wanted with like the removing of buffs and then placing the block buffs, and there's so much to her kit, right? So I'd love her for Hydra boss. Then of course Ninja's one of those go-tos, but you can't get him anymore, unfortunately, as he was just like a limited time champion.
Right.
Mishinaki, really strong for the Hex for the Hydra boss and the Clan boss. Harima, Yoshi. It's really hard to say like any that's really that bad. I'd say maybe Jinro and Gamaran, probably, and Nobu. It's probably three I'd kind of push it aside alongside Jing1 being a void legendary.
Yeah, luckily we don't have to worry about getting Jinro. Most of us will never get him. Maybe at some point. Are you even close to getting him from Doom Tower?
No, I think I'm still about 2 champions away. Still quite a long way.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And then Noble, I agree. I think he could be good. They just need to change his kit so that it's usable, like more overall. You know, he has like one very niche use, and even that wasn't that good. And then who was the third one that you said?
Gamaran.
Oh yeah, Gamaran. I wanted this guy to be good so much as well, but he's just so hard to make work. So hard to make
he's got
work.
so much conditions in this kit, right?
Yeah.
Like it revives a random ally for each time an enemy is killed. It's like if he's the last one alive, you just want him to just revive, right?
Yeah.
So
you think Jingwan has moved to the usable category now with his buff?
Well, Jingwan's still one of those champions that I don't feel like he feels like a void legendary, if I'm honest. But there is like stuff to his kit that can have use, like the way that his passive works, and you could just kind of cleanse everything. So in a way, you don't need somebody in like an untouchable set. He could just come through, counter the torments, and then let the rest of your team do the job. Yeah, and he's got some like quirky niche stuff, but I wouldn't say he's top tier. Like if he was a void legendary, I still expect a lot more from him.
I would feel much better if he was a normal legendary instead of a void legendary, because the rest of his kit is just so strange. It is unique and interesting, but I just feel like the rest of his kit does nothing. The real reason you use him is for his passive. But you were going to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if there was to like make him void legendary worthy, I'd probably say the Unchained passive needs to go down to a 1-turn cooldown. I know that it sounds busted, but think about how many OP champions and how many OP passives there are in this game.
Agree.
And for somebody just to be immune and remove debuffs on a 1-turn, still gives it that 1-turn cooldown, right? For somebody to manipulate you. So maybe like 2-turn, but I feel like the 4-turn cooldown is just way too long for a void legendary.
Yeah, 100%. You could also do interesting things like boost his base HP, you know, like as a void legendary, he has the base HP of like Magnar, right? Like why doesn't he have like 27,000 base HP? And then like that would be another huge bonus to him. So there are definitely uses, but I agree that he's definitely not the best.
Another fun thing I thought would be cool with him is because of his A1 transferring all debuffs from this champion to a target, I thought it'd be really cool if he could be the first ever champion to transfer what's it called, the protected debuffs. So do you know in bomb or something you can like send the bombs back? I feel like that could have been a really cool kit for him as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I think I totally agree. It just he doesn't feel like a void legendary. He's not powerful enough. But
I definitely wasted my books on him. Yeah.
Did you? What about epics though? Are there epics that you would stay away from in this faction?
Stay away from is kind of like a hard one because I feel like they've all got a strong use for at least the faction wars, right? With the extra addition after the normal ones we had. But in terms of like ones I would probably stay away from normally is like Chonoru, I'm not a big fan of. I've seen everyone in the free-to-play series at the moment. The people that pulled her felt very underwhelmed, unless she's like fully booked and stuff. So I don't know. She does have some use, don't get me wrong. Like, we got free time hitters at random. Probably good for clan boss with the weekend. She does have some other stuff, but it's just not like a top tier epic in my opinion.
No, and she's an attack-based champion too, so on top of all that, she's going to be hard to keep alive, and she doesn't really do good damage. I would definitely stay away from her as well. On my end, I think Wuji is a trap. What do you think?
Oh, Nutbraids is gonna come after you. He loves her.
I know, but listen, unless you have crazy endgame gear, her base stats are miserable. Her kit's awesome. I love her kit. But her
Yeah.
base stats are like a common. Like, she is so ridiculously hard to keep alive. I just don't think that most people would be happy investing in her because of that reason.
Yeah, I guess it is like for early game, it is an option for maybe normal or hard Hydra. Being able to place that AoE block buffs,
Maybe.
maybe a counter to some of the affinities that you face in the Hydra boss rotations. It is like, just say you've got just an Ugo or whoever that may be, and you want to
Mhm.
bring in a force block buffs. I guess it's okay, but the base stats, as you said, they definitely need a bit of a
Yeah.
raise, especially in the HP bit.
Yeah, you better. She needs
Yeah,
like 15,000, 17,000 base HP. She's like at half of what she should be. I mean,
yeah,
she is an attack-based champion. I get it. Her base attack is very high for an epic, so I'm assuming that's why. But you better
yeah,
be bringing at least one reviver, if not two, just to keep her alive, or just be, crazy gear on her.
yeah.
Go ahead.
And I was just thinking, like, there is some other champions probably that I've not used, but you can let me know if they're good. I've not really tried out Chani or Umatogi. I've never seen anyone play with those two champions,
Okay, well, I have
personally.
opinions on both of those, so that works out.
Okay,
Chani was going to be the next champion that I mentioned. I think she's a complete trap. I really
okay.
tried to make her work because she has poison sensitivity on her A1,
Mm.
but like you have to build her with 100% crit rate to place her HP burn, which you don't necessarily want to do. And then she doesn't have any poison in her kit.
Oh, oh.
So she places poison
Yeah,
sensitivity, but she doesn't have any poisons. You're not building her for her multipliers, but you have to build her with 100% crit rate. And you probably have to play her in a clan boss team, and that clan boss team has to be a killable team, like a normal team, because you need multiple people, and it's just too much. So I think if they changed her A3, um, to include poisons, then she would be great. But as of right
yeah.
now, it's just she's very hard to use. And then Umitogi is the number one sleeper in this faction, actually.
Okay.
The number one sleeper. She has a passive. Whenever this champion's attack completely blocks one hit, decreasing the incoming damage to 0. And then there's stuff about counterattacking and stuff. That's not important. For Faction Wars 21 on the boss, it's the boss that completely ignores defense. And so
Yeah,
what you need is time in order to have enough turns to kill the boss. Killing the boss is not a problem. Getting the 3 stars is the problem. So what you do is you build her with the lowest HP so that her passive blocks the damage, and then you heal her back up and then get somebody else to be attacked, and then her passive will come off of cooldown. Because unlike Jingwan, her passive
yeah.
is on a 2-turn cooldown. So I have beat the faction. My original clear of this faction included her on the team, and I've mentioned that to a bunch of people, and that's really helped them out. Now we have Kinagashi, who is a reviver in the faction, but before she was released, we did not have any revivers, and so you needed these tricks in order to actually beat the Faction Wars 21 boss.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I feel like that passive is actually very underrated
It
on a
is.
two-turn. It reminds me a bit of Sepulchre Sentinel, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. But it's actually more reliable because it's 100%.
yeah.
It
It's interesting
automatically blocks it.
because she actually counterattacks with that as well with the default skill.
Yeah,
So that actually could be a good candidate for some stun targeting potentially.
right.
If you got the yeah,
The
that's
thing is,
interesting.
she puts a veil on herself, right?
Yeah.
On her A3. Yeah, she puts a perfect veil on herself. So after you get the boss to attack her, then you veil her and the boss can't attack her a second turn. So
Oh, yeah, I get you.
it
Yeah.
really works out for the timing on the boss, for sure, for sure. Okay, so I don't really like the majority of the rares in this faction, but actually there are some tolerable ones. Like I
Yeah.
think Assassin, Odachi, and Marauder are usable, especially early game faction wars. Have you
Mhm.
experienced anything with any of the rares?
Yeah, I think the best one here is Life Taker.
Oh, you like Life Taker the best
Yeah,
because of the
I
heal
think
reduction?
Yeah, I just feel like for like when you're trying to progress in this game, right, and you're trying to do finite for the first time or whatever that may be, you've got attacks one enemy 3 times. Each has a big chance to place to decrease the turn meter by 10%. The third hit has a chance
Hmm.
of placing decreased speed. And the cool thing is, traditionally with some rares, you got the lower variation, but she actually places the 30% decreased speed, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, and then the A1, obviously 2 time hitter, good for cracking the shield, and has a 100% heal reduction, not a 50%, and also will reflect damage and veil. So I feel like for Fire Knight in particular, if you're looking for those roles and you don't have them, I think it's a great champion.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, super underrated champion right there. That's a great shout out. Okay, cool. So when you are thinking about beating this faction, do we have enough champions that the majority of players should be able to beat this faction or progress, like
hmm
early and mid game, or do you think that this is like one of the tougher factions and we're gonna struggle to find good champions?
I guess like with these ignoring defense bosses, of course, you're just mentioning the Umatogi is a great strategy. I'd say ally protection is one of the most needed things in those kind of bosses, similar to like the dwarf boss when you got the rearguard sergeants or whatever that may be for ally protection because
Yeah,
of the way that it scales. I feel like we don't have enough ally protection potentially, especially in the epic and rare category, being only Torogi the Frog.
yeah.
We do have Kinagashi for the revives, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like when the faction first opened, it was a bit underwhelming with the amount of choices. I feel like there's a good few in here now, right?
There is.
Yeah.
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head here though, that you do need a couple specific champions, but you have options in order to beat level 21. I would
Yeah.
say for the rest of the
Wait.
faction, your options are pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a little trick that I wanted to throw in here.
Oh
Which
yeah,
champion
great.
is it? Okay, so on Sachi, on her passive, this is the way that I free started back in the day
Really?
with the false death. So it revives a random ally with 30% HP whenever this champion kills an enemy. So if you guys are struggling with trying to get through the boss in particular, her killing the boss actually classes as killing an enemy, and then you can actually revive the one enemy that might have died in that run. Let's just say hypothetically. So for her, I actually felt like there was so many times I couldn't do it. I let Sachi take the last hit, and then boom, I revived the ally. That was pretty
So
cool. And
you
also,
actually got it. You got Sachi to revive and you three-starred it like that.
yeah, so basically, when you bring in the support champions, as long as you save their skills when the HP is really, really low, you can just literally take the last hit. It does take a bit of RNG, but it is an option, right?
So you're gonna
Uh,
have to run that multiple times in order to get that last hit in there, probably.
yeah, I think it took me around 4 to 5 times, but I left it at like a rank 50 or something, like
Yeah, that's not
just to see the
bad.
fun. And
Not bad.
also, I felt another MVP would be Kunoichi, being another ally protector on a A3, and she actually fills this champion's turn meter to allow it to take more turns, with a weaken and a leech to allow you to heal by 18% of the damage inflicted, I believe. So, and also a block damage when the HP drops below 50%. So when you're getting smacked, block damage goes up and then
Yeah.
can help you tank up there.
I've
So,
never
so really
actually
cool.
used Kunoichi in a takeover. I'm gonna have to remember that. I think she's the most underrated find from this conversation. Normally, I'm heading over to Taragi because we know he's
Yeah.
very good because he does the shield and ally protect and reflect. Like he does everything that you want in his kit, in
Yeah.
addition to the decrease attack and the poisons, all of that stuff. But Kunoichi, that's great. If you have her in the team, she's really going to protect your team there. I think that's a great one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, she's great. The only issue is she doesn't have a way of self-healing, whereas Torogi the Frog does. But then the upside is she does have a leech to allow everybody to heal from the damage inflicted,
Right.
right? So it's kind of that catch 22, sorry, of
Yeah.
the ways that you want to go with these champions. But it's
So
interesting.
it does seem like you probably want like Taragi, Konoichi, or Kinagashi, like one of those three, in order to be able to complete the faction, unless you were to have someone like Kyoku, Gamaran, Rio, like some high profile legendary in order to like protect your team. Gamaran's great for the same reasons that you were mentioning Sachi, because he just has to be in the team, basically. It doesn't matter, you know. His revive is going to get you that last person popping back up. once the boss is defeated. He doesn't have to be the one to hit them though.
Yeah. Another cool one would actually be, I don't know how to say her name properly. People keep bashing me in the comments.
Okay.
Tomo or Tomoe. I'm not sure how you say
It's
it in.
you ready? It's
Yeah.
Tomui.
Can we say that again?
Tomui.
Tom Lee.
It's like you're pronouncing the
Oh.
O and the E like an O and an E. That's how you would say it in Japanese. Tomoi.
Oh, Tomoe. Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting. I actually wanted to know that. But basically, she has the only speed aura from the epics for faction creeps by 24%. And she actually manipulates the heals and turn meter fill effects by 20% when used on allies from Shadowkin faction. So when you talk about faction wars in particular, there's so much versatility with a champion like her, in my opinion. And she does bring a decent kit as well. She's got decreased attack for an AoE, helping you get through the waves easier. She has chance of stealing buffs. She has counter attacks for 3 turns if the ally's from a Shadowkin. I feel like there's a lot of quirky ways you could use her. And she was used for a previous fusion, I believe. So you might have her in the vault, right? From
Yeah,
your...
she's one of those ones who I think is super cool, but I've never actually gotten a chance to use yet.
Mhm.
That's a great call out as well. So, um, when you're thinking about this faction and like building a team, um, what what kind of teams do you think would be like easily accessible? Can we try to like theorize like a team that maybe most people would have here to try to put together for faction wars?
Or factuals. It's really subjective because of the things we were speaking about
I
with the
know.
2 ally protectors. I would say for role number 1, I would say ally protection, whether that be Kunoichi or Torogi, I guess.
Okay.
Um, I'd say you want some form of AoE drop defense. So somebody like a Soy Ren is really, really strong for that. She has the AoE drop defense. I think she's the only epic from this faction that can do it
I think
consistently
so
enough
too.
anyway.
Yeah, and
Um,
then she has the single target weaken too, which is helpful for the
yeah.
boss.
So
And
I feel like so,
poisons.
and she hits pretty hard as well. But if you
Okay.
don't have her, then of course Genzin is the legendary that can do it, my
Yeah,
boy.
obviously we need to
Yeah.
include him if we have him, obviously.
Yeah, so I'd say Ally Protector, drop defense, and then you want some form of maybe 10 meter fill or 10 meter decrease. But I'm actually a huge fan of Kinagashi because yeah, it's I don't even feel like you need to book her up in order to because she does teaming up with allies to get instant damage out. She does have decreasing turn meter and she does revive, so
Yeah, I think if you have Kinagashi, she's going in the team for sure. For sure.
yeah.
And then what
And
about damage dealers? You think just like a Genbo or a Nagorio type of a champion in there for your main damage?
I'm a huge fan of Negorio, actually. I think
Me
he's
too.
very, very underrated.
Me
One of my
too.
favorite champions from this faction.
Now
Yeah,
that's a cool
Nogorio's
mask on that
it.
champion. I
Yeah,
could see you
that's.
in that one.
I actually asked Raid for one. I was like,
Did
when
you?
Negorio came out, I said, "Give it to me. I'll cosplay Negorio." They're like, "Oh, we'll think about it." And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like you need a damage dealer for this faction, right? Because if you guys are
Okay.
struggling with the boss in particular, the way that it's like the more damage you do instantly, the quicker he takes a turn and he comes through and smacks you,
True.
right?
True.
So you can get away with just like slowly but surely ticking it down with poisons or support
Okay.
champions and War Master procs, I feel like is enough. But for speed farming, of course, Nogorio, Gembo, these kinds of champions are definitely what you're looking for, right? But
Yeah.
I'd actually say Mishinaki probably one of the best
Oh yeah,
because
for
he
sure.
he's got like AoE decreased defense, like so that's another decreased defense champion, sorry, alongside Genzin.
But
And then we
you
got
no,
the
you were right. That's the only decreased defense at epic or rare. Mishinaki's a legendary, so not everybody's gonna
yeah.
have him.
Yeah, and then also like the hex and stuff, and
Hmm.
teaming up with the allies, and the defense is all battles by 30% is actually really strong as well.
Yeah, yeah. Love that guy, as we said before. Is there anybody else who I think I mean, if you have Kyoku, she's gonna be super clutch. You
Yeah.
know, the Kyoku and the Rio, they're gonna be clutch. If you have Kurado and Yumiko together, they can be good, but Kurado's a good damage dealer on his own. I've seen plenty of clears. He does really good damage as well. And
Hmm.
Hotatsu's great. He's got the leech. He's got some decreased attack for you, increased defense, and I think he's one of the main ways to heal in this faction too. So if you need healing, think about bringing a Hotatsu on your team. But other than that, I think you're on spot on with your team composition. I will
Hmm.
say Masamoto. is not very good, but he does do an increased defense and a turn meter fill. Again, he has the decreased attack, though.
Yeah.
And Borenguri is all right. Like, if you have him built for Baumel, you can bring him in, but just know he's not going to be as good as you want him to be. But he does bring a shield and a strength in, and then he can be very helpful on the waves as well. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So, last thing before we wrap it up here, I would love to know what your faction war team is for this faction.
Ooh.
Are you able to pull that up?
Yeah, I think I can. Wait, let me just think of my team here. His faction was open today. I can't remember.
Let me just click over there and check, because I can pull up my team while I'm doing that as well
Okay,
to go over
it's
that.
not
No,
open
it's not
today.
open today. But I'll give you a
Okay.
minute. I'll do my team first, and then you
Yep.
can think over what your team is. Let me pull up mine.
Is this hypothetical dream team or what I actually use to
No,
speed
what
farm
you
it?
actually use. What you
Okay.
actually use, yeah. So practically, I use Genbo in my end game team. You know, I have him
Hmm.
built for damage, but I also have Corrado and Yumiko in there. And then I'm blessed enough to have Rio and Ninja. So this is a pretty end game speed farming type of a team. I actually think you can be faster than this. But Rio, if you're farming level 21, Rio is just an insane combo with Ninja, because you do the decreased defense and weaken and the HP burn, and then Ninja blows it all up. Yumiko resets everything. It's a really slick team. I would say it's one of my best teams for Faction Wars, actually.
That's interesting.
Yep. So
Riho.
were you able to put together your team here?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
great.
know I know my team. I was just thinking like was you thinking dream team or my actual team? My actual team
Oh
is
yeah.
I got two Genzins, of course.
You have two built?
Yeah,
That's
fully.
awesome.
Yeah. I need more. I need a whole team.
You want a whole
Uh,
team? Okay, okay.
yeah. So two Genzins, and then I've got Nogorio as well in there. Torogi the Frog, and then a ninja. That's basically what I use.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
So what I do
Taragi
is
is enough
I
to keep your team alive through all the waves?
yeah. So basically I kill the waves in like one shot. So I got the presets for Genzin to open up, nuke with Nogorio. That's wave one done. Then on wave two, second Genzin drop defense, and then the rest of the champions just provoke and all of that stuff and do the CC. And then wave three, Ninja just solos it.
Really?
So yeah, so
Oh, that's a cool team, man. That is such a cool team. Well,
I
awesome
do switch up.
conversation.
I do switch up with Missionaki sometimes. It just depends, right? Like once you
Okay.
get the final three star, you kind of don't care about the stars, right? You just
Yeah,
wanna
right.
blast through it, yeah.
Just matters if you beat the stage. Well,
Yeah.
man, what a great conversation about Shadowkin today. Any final thoughts or anything that we missed?
Oh no, I just appreciate you having me on, man. Talking Shadowkin is like my main thing, my favorite thing to do. So
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
like the
Well,
best topic, yeah.
I wouldn't have had anybody else on for Shadowkin. Could not have possibly thought of anybody else. So anyway, thank you so much for coming on. Again, the links for both of our videos will be in each other's. So we'll put the video link for the collab we're about to go record down here for you, and mine will be over there as well. Make sure you check out YST's channel. He is on fire. He is pushing out the content. Really enjoying the free to play series over there that you're working on right now. And any last thoughts out the door here?
No, just thank you for having me on. Keep crushing it, guys. Please subscribe to MtgJedi. He's an absolute legend. Let's get him to at least 20,000 as soon as possible, right? And then we'll be good to go.
Awesome, man. Thanks so
Yeah.
much. Appreciate you guys making it all the way to the end of the video. Share this with somebody who you think would enjoy it, and let us know who your favorite Shadowkin champions are in the comments below. We'll catch you guys in the next video.